Not sure how well the video recording will work out, but I know the audio will work well. I tried to do live recordings both on Instagram and on YouTube, and neither of them would let me do it. Instagram has a rule where it's got to be 1,000 followers now to do it. And YouTube, I applied with some kind of verification video that they say will take a day to verify. So you might end up seeing this video on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. Right now, I'm doing the live video on Facebook, and hopefully it's going to save it. But we'll see. You never know. I don't have a lot of redundancy. I'm using an Android for the video and iPhone for the audio. I'm certain the audio will be good, and I'll upload that to Dropbox for safekeeping and provide the link when I'm done. The first one here is only going to be about 30 minutes or so. I'm going to keep it fresh and just hit the highlights. What's your appetite? I haven't settled on the exact name of the podcast, but it's something to the effect of My Father is Still an Abusive Pedophile and Rapist. I see I haven't uploaded a video to YouTube in 10 months, and so I know what I was doing during that time, and I'll take you from there. 10 months ago would have put us around summer of 2025, and I was recording some videos about what I was going through, and I was going to the police because not only did my father abuse me and my mom, but he brainwashed me to not even think about it until I got much, much older. And I didn't realize that until 2024, towards the end. And then that's why I went to the police last year and made a report. And my mom's gone, dead. She died in 2017. And my father, she stood up to my father about what he did. And she hated what he did. And he said that she would be dead and gone by the time I remembered what he did. And he was right. So I've got a list of things that I'm going to go and tell the sheriff about. I'm going to go over those because there's a sheriff now in Rancho San Diego that's a couple miles from my childhood house where my father still lives. And number one, I get the feeling my mom might have said something to them at some point in her life about my dad's intentions after he abused us, to stalk us and to harm us in other weird, crazy ways. Because he's an Army veteran and his brothers are Army veterans, he's had access to weapons that he should have never had. Same thing with his father, and that's how it began. He stole his father's laser that he took home from the Navy that he was not supposed to touch, and that set off a big chain reaction of problems that has haunted him to this day, and everybody he knows, mainly his family. Was because he blinded himself in the eye with a laser, then blinded his brother. And then he says his brother got soldiers to rape him in the ass. And he said his brother infected him with worms. So he's had worms for over half a century that he can't get rid of. And he said he would give them to me and my mother. Apparently they were given to him up his nose while he was sleeping. And I remember this when I was a kid. It's really a shame, having all these horrible, terrible memories about what your father said he was going to do to you after he already did it to you, because you were forbidden to even think about the abuse until 2024, because it involved rape and other horrendous things that he knew he'd go to prison for. It's really a shame that I have to go through this. It's a shame I have to think about this now. He didn't want me to live as a victim or be known as a victim or him to be known as a perp. And my mom didn't like that. So my mom prepared me to kill him. My mom figured that when I remembered what he did to me and to her, that I would want to kill him. And so she gave me all kinds of instructions about what to do. And he realized it and knew it and started attacking me more and more and more and more and never quit. He said that and everything I say is all from what they told me. If they didn't tell me all these things, I wouldn't have any clue what was going on with my body. I wouldn't be pointing the finger at him for anything except for rape me and rape my mom, because she called it rape. She said he didn't know. She didn't know he was into anal when they got married, and she never wanted it and hated it and it hurt. And she ended up bleeding and having a damaged rectum, just like me. And she went to the hospital for colorectal surgery and died in surgery. My father is such a twisted dumb fuck that he made her say it was like diverticulitis surgery and wouldn't even let people know what it was really for and what was really happening. And I suspect he did something to her before she went in there to make sure she died. She died from sepsis, and he cremated her against her will. She said she wanted to have a plot here in El Cajon, and where I could visit her and my friends and family could visit her. And when she died, I was in Hawaii and I was in shock. She was supposed to come out of the surgery, and I talked to her before it. And so my dad took control afterwards, and so he ended up cremating her and bringing her ashes to Maui, to where I was, and we spread them there. And he says that's what he wants to do with his ashes. He wants me and my old best friend from childhood, Charlie Tang, to go the same spot, same coordinates in a boat and dump his ashes out there on West Maui. I told him I'll do that, but I'm also going to shit in his ashes. So I'm going to read you a few emails I've sent by my father. I think you might find them interesting or enlightening. But it's a shame that this dumb asshole not only raped me in the ass for years, raped my mom in the ass until she died, and did other terrible crimes to us with lasers and other weapons that I'm going to have to just describe because I haven't seen them. I've only been told about them from people that suffered from them, like my aunt and my mom and my grandpa. But before I get to that, my mother told me that my father has a weapon where he speaks words into her mind. She said this to me when I was a kid. My grandpa said it too, and my father confirmed it. And they argued about it and said, how am I going to know what God's voice is? And how am I going to know if it's him or if it's God talking to me? Now I don't believe in their God. I'm not in a cult. I was a Christian for 30 years. Now I believe in a God that's not a personal God, that wouldn't even want you to have to wonder if this voice in your head is from a psychopath rapist or from God. Nope. God doesn't talk to people. I'm 100% certain now. God, I'm a deist. I believe in a God that made stuff and doesn't deal with people on a daily basis or in their affairs or answers prayers or is personal in any way, shape, or form. If you think otherwise, prove it. I got a PhD in Bible. I used to lead a Christian ministry. I've been to a mosque. I've been to a Catholic mass. I've been to a Mormon's ward. I've been to a Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall. It's all nonsense. There's one creator God and a whole bunch of people making a whole bunch of rules and nonsense so they can sleep better at night. But be that as it may, the Christian church is hiding some pedophiles, and that makes me angry. Not only did I change my name since the last video, I legally changed my name to Jason Patrick Law because I don't want to be associated with him or his family or his last name anymore. But I took signs and put them up at Shadow Mountain Community Church a week ago, Sunday, and to tell people, to inform them. Because I've contacted the church and pastors there with letters. One pastor used to be my roommate. One pastor used to be my college pastor there, and we were close, and he mentored me. And I haven't heard a word from any of these people. It's like they're hiding. And I sent a general letter to Shadow Mountain Community Church as well, and it got ignored. So that's 3 ignores. Pastor David St. John, my old roommate Brian Snow, and to David Jeremiah there at the church, the main big dog. Because my father used to quote him and used to take us to church, and he hid in plain sight. And they even hired him to coach soccer there. So, yeah, that was his big plan, is to become my soccer coach throughout my life so he can keep an eye on me. And so I wouldn't expose his secrets to people out of it or whatever. So he coached me at the Boys Club of El Cajon, soccer here. And then he coached me at Christian Junior High School soccer, and then Christian High School soccer. My sophomore, my junior, and my senior year. Those 3 years he was coaching there. And I got thrown out of school twice too, during soccer season. So my junior year I got thrown out, went to Valhalla, came back. My senior year I got thrown out, went to Valhalla, graduated. Then I went to SDSU and I graduated. Nobody at Valhalla or SDSU and the principal's office even knew who I was. So Christian was just very, very, very strict. The first time was just an accumulation of referrals, and the second time was because I went to a party. We had a party at my girlfriend's house, and we all got thrown out. So anyways, be that as it may, to make a long story longer, you should be afraid of my father. And he's a very, very bad person. He takes joy in harming other people, and he doesn't seem that way at first. I told my therapist, who did the right thing, I suppose, that first, as I was recalling these things months ago, I was telling my therapist here in El Cajon that my mother wanted me to kill my father, and told me all kinds of things about killing him and how people would react, and about the trial, and if there would even be a trial, and how it would be self-defense because he's hurting me, and he did already hurt me, and he plans to never stop, he said. And he's off his meds. So it'll be legal and I'll get off. There probably won't even be a trial. And they'll find his weapons over his dead body, and then I'll be exonerated, basically. And so as I started thinking more about it and thinking about the statutes of limitations that the cops and the district attorney told me were protecting this pedophile, after that was the resolution of my going forward to the police and telling them what happened and the truth, and their investigation was the end because of statutes of limitations. And I don't know, I think that's pretty demonic, pretty antichrist. Reverse mortgage and a statutes of limitations couldn't be any more anti-Christ. If you think Christ is about justice, and if you think Christ is about getting an inheritance one day, because the reverse mortgage says you ain't getting this house ever, and statutes of limitations means you ain't getting justice either. There's different kinds of justice. There's criminal justice, there's civil justice, and there's social justice. So on Friday, I went down to the courthouse and I filed a lawsuit against my father. And I realized that I fulfilled something my mother wanted me to do, because she wanted to see it on a court document, or wanted other people to see it and have it say Law versus Gastrich. So she's getting her wish. I'm going to have to subpoena some people that know exactly what he did and what he was going to do, and I think I'll win. It's a shame that they say it's probably not going to go down until like September, because the courts are so backed up. But I suppose I need that time to get the initial paperwork processed, and then serve him, and then subpoena the witnesses, and then get the case together. It could take a few months, I guess, to do all that. My last therapy session occurred when I said that I had thoughts, plans about killing my father. And I knew it might be the end of the end. And my parents even discussed it and argued about it, about whether I should tell my therapist decades down the line about my intentions to kill my father. Because he said I should if I want to be honest. She said maybe I shouldn't if I want to do it with a gun because they'll tell the police and then they'll forbid me from having a gun. And that's exactly what happened. I went in to go purchase a gun a couple of weeks ago. I passed the safety test. I only missed one. I paid for the background check, and then it came back and said I couldn't get a gun. And so that's what happened. That was my last therapy session, too. They said they didn't want to talk to me, or I couldn't return until I resolved my things with the police. And I don't know what that means, because I think I can't get a legal gun now for 5 years because they told the cops, and I don't blame them. I think that's the law, and I think they could maybe even be liable for litigation if I would have killed him. But he dodged a bullet. Yeah. My aunt is a pedophile, and she molested me. She wasn't as bad as he was. It was a one-time thing, but I was suing her. And then I recalled that I think he put her up to it. My mom and him argued about that when I was a kid, and they kept a lot of stuff from me. But when I was 16, one time on vacation, she abused me in North Carolina. So I went out there, and my father lied about it to the cops and said, nope, never happened. I don't know what he's talking about. And that blew me away. And then it was caught up in the courts for a while to see whether the Safe Child Act in North Carolina was constitutional or not. And finally, after years of litigation, they said, yes, you can go forward with your case. Of course, I'm long gone and out of North Carolina by then. I'm over here now. And so the court date finally came back up. And we're talking, I think, 4 years after I filed it there and I was there. It finally came up 2 weeks ago, and I was literally going to shoot him dead on that date. I was supposed to get the gun on Saturday night. I could have gotten it on Sunday morning if I wanted to. They wanted me to come on Sunday morning. And then I was going to shoot him dead. So he's croaked, 86, dead, gone that Monday morning, Sunday night, Monday morning, the day that I was supposed to be there for the court because he lied. And because he raped me and he did a list of other shitty things to me and my mother and my other family. So he's going to take out the goddamn trash. And he dodged a bullet. So statutes of limitations and being honest with a therapist are helping very evil people skirt justice for now. But he knew as well as I do that, there's lots of ways you can kill a person and it will be even uglier and messier without a gun. But that's something I need to think about, and whether I want to risk bodily injury now or not, because he deserves it. I was also going to kill him on the 2nd of the month. First, second. A couple of days ago, I was going to murder him. Yeah. That was my plan. I'm like, just fuck it. After I get paid for my guitar lesson job, I will pay up my bills and then go kill him. I won't tell you how, and then there was a full moon, and I figured this dumb asshole has a gun and that he'll probably try to shoot me, and I'm not going to go on a full moon because I think that's a death sentence. So he got a reprieve. I got a lot of things on my plate. I just published a book of 40 poems. I'm writing another book. Got probably about 30 more poems already written. I teach guitar lessons. I've got a job. I got a couple jobs. I got an online first aid and CPR certification business I've had for 16 years or so. So I'm not itching to go to jail and write a book, or to even have to go through that bullshit scenario where I've got to plead innocent and tell them what a piece of shit he is and how they can find his weapons in his house. And after his shit-faced relatives lie and shrug, they can get down to the truth. Because some of them will tell the truth. And I know which ones will. And I know how to get them to tell the truth. So I'm not worried, but if and when I decide to end his life, that I will be vindicated and set free because it's in self defense. So he's got this weapon where he talks in people's heads and makes perverted sounds and words and commands and shit because he's a cowardly dumb fuck. And he also has a wave type weapon that he uses to bounce off of the scars that he made with the lasers that hit organs and other things. And it's annoying and it's painful. It's not a 10 on a pain scale. It's not even a 7. It's not even a 5 or a 6. It's more like a 1 or maybe a 2. But it keeps happening over and over and over and over. And I know what my father wanted. He wanted me to sound like a raving lunatic and like I'm a psychopath, like I'm a degenerate, like I'm only out for money, like I'm a drug addict. Like he is. The guy's balding, blinding, cigarette smoking over half a century, teeth falling out of his head, alcoholic. He's probably spent $100,000 on beer. And just this beer belly like this. He's got chins like this, eye bags like this, hair just coming out, teeth falling out. Guy's a goddamn wreck. And so he's used these stupid weapons to harm me. And he infected me with the fucking worms too. So that is the bare bones of the lawsuit is the infection. That was just one of many goddamn things that crossed the line. And I think I'll win. But it doesn't stop there. And this fucking loser has a weapon that he uses on the worms, and he knows all types of bullshit about worms. And I've been treated with antibiotics for a parasitic infection 3 times just recently, and I couldn't clear them. And he said that his weapon can make them stay in the body or stay in certain stages. And he said that he could almost clear them. And he thought maybe he could clear them one day, maybe. My mom said, well, if you can get rid of them, clear them, then why do you still have them? And he didn't have a good answer for that. Basically, he wanted to try to trick me into thinking he's got a cure for this disease that he's going to give me and that I should kiss his ass so he gives it to me. But actually, my uncle told me that if I wanted the cure, I could go to him and that he could give me some ideas on how to get rid of them. Because remember, he initially gave them to my father, and they're not on very good terms. And he gave them to my mother, and then he gave them to me. I can still remember what my mother said, that she thought that he was possible. You know, it seemed like, I don't know. But I wasn't allowed to think about several things, sadly, and he kept adding to them too. But originally, it was just the rapes, and then later it was the laser stuff and the assaults, and then it was the worms and the other stuff. So, and he threatened me with hellfire and divorcing my mom and telling me I'll get raped by the next man that she marries and it'll be worse, and on and on and on and on and on. So I was horrified and didn't want to say anything to anybody about what he did. But people figured it out anyways, somehow. My mom told some people at church, and some of my friends and family members just figured it out or knew, and I don't know how or why. And they would have conversations about it, and I would just be like in a trance, just like couldn't even like comprehend what they were saying. And I would just kind of nod or chuckle. And he controlled my brain too to act that way and to not try to seek help and not try to seek conversations and to shut people down if they ever brought it up. And he basically forced me to keep his dirty secret until I got older. And then he thought by the time I got older, people wouldn't have any pity on me or any understanding, and they would doubt what I said, and they would wonder why I didn't come forward sooner, and that he would always have an out and always save face among certain people because he says that he's got a legacy or whatever. Pretty sick, if you ask me. Legacy. And my mom used to say, "What legacy? You know, like you've lost your mind. You know, you're nobody." And I'm not even complaining about the house right now and how he promised me that and how I would always have a place to take care of myself. And then he went back on it and said he'd probably get a reverse mortgage or he probably won't have any equity in it anyway when he dies. And I'm not even talking about, the other horrible things that he's done to me. My mom said that he stalked me everywhere I've ever lived. Calvary Baptist Church with Pastor Howard Everett in Linda Vista. Now it's a different church. They caught him with some kind of mechanical device in the parking lot when I rented an office there years ago. And that's when I started feeling back pain and seeing a chiropractor, Ken Gilden, down the street in Claremont. And that was him. My mom even said that he used a weapon on her overnight that even caused him pain to try to mess up her legs to make them blow up. And she used to say, "Look at my legs. This isn't how they're supposed to look. And they're all inflamed and huge." And she had to get a fake knee, a knee transplant, and it had all kinds of problems and complications. And it hurt. And it was a disaster. But I guess this wave type weapon that he was using to exacerbate her wounds was also exacerbating his back pain. And he's been using it on me, that sick, dumb, goddamn asshole. And I'm going to report it to the police. It's not conventional. It's not something I've seen. It's not something I can show them or tell them the maker of it or where he got it or all the details. And rest assured, his shit voice has mocked me too, saying, how? Like he's an honest person truly wanting to know how, when he's just a piece of goddamn dog shit harassing me and terrorizing me, just like he did my mom and my grandpa. My grandpa said that he used to scream and yell until he realized that they weren't like right there. They made some of the things on his face even like melt. They cremated his body because his kids, all veterans, didn't want him or anybody to know what they did to his body. But he had like moles that looked like they were like dripping, like hanging down, that they lasered on his body. I guess they were trying to get him back for being not a great father or cheating on his mom. But at least two of my relatives are my half relatives. And so it would indicate that my grandma cheated on my grandpa. But I think she might have done that because he was overseas and cheated on people too, cheated on her too, with other people. Pretty sad and pathetic if you ask me. I was faithful to my wife for the 10, 11 years that we were married. In fact, I haven't even dated somebody since her. But that's just me. I want a clean conscience, and I'm a person of my word. So I'm looking forward to going to the sheriff. I wrote the sheriff a letter, and the sheriff called me and left me a voicemail and said they got it. And so that's great. There are more details that I want to tell the Rancho San Diego sheriff and fill in the blanks so they know what's going on. And I think that'll cover me, and it may inspire them to knock on his door. The sheriff is definitely going to knock on his door when they serve him the papers to go to court, because I ain't doing it, and I ain't paying somebody, and the sheriff will do it for free. For me, because I got a fee waiver. But he said he could cause cancer. He said he could cause lung cancer, skin cancer with it. And I have a neighbor that said a derogatory thing with him at 1518 Fair Glen Road named Ted Theodore Petrizak, that died when I was a kid after he made a comment that my father thought meant he knew that he raped us and he was on to us. And his other brother was a cop. And so my father was basically shitting his pants. And then my friend's brother, big brother, died of skin cancer, just mysteriously, like in his 30s. And so I think that he may have that has something to do with that. But this dumb gay goddamn weapon, he's used it to hit me in the lungs, in the foot, in the thumb, in the toe, in the back, in the rib cage. The guy's a goddamn queer. Mom said he constipated her with the weapon. He said that he can make poo into like little pebbles. And he said if I ever shit little like pebbles, then that's because he's hitting me with this weapon in my body. And he encouraged me to eat turmeric. He said, eat turmeric, and then I can use this weapon on your body any way I want, and your body will recover, and it'll be okay. And then they debated that and about whether I how well he'll do with it, and if I should rub it on or just eat it or whatever, take pepper with it to increase the bioavailability. But see, he's been hitting these fucking worms that are in my head to make it look like I don't have them and make me forget about them and make it so they can't test them and find them over his dead body. And it's not going to work because I do have them and I think I know how to get rid of them. And there was one outbreak, just like he said, that I took pictures of that was out of fucking control, that they were just coming out of my eyes and nose. And so that's what happens. I'm not afraid of the truth, and I'm not worried about the truth. But it is pretty disturbing. And I was told how to think and how to feel, and that these pains were metaphors and messages that this cowardly monster was trying to send me when I tried to bring him to justice. That was his whole plan, for me to look like a junkie and to feel pain all over my body and come crawling to him. Not only, I could be angry at him for teaching me that I had to go be houseless too. My mom hated that, but they were religious nutcases. And my father, every time my mom wasn't around, glorified houselessness like it was the path to the kingdom of heaven. And that anybody who's great has always been houseless for some part of their life. There's Jesus, Muhammad, Gandhi, or whoever. So I bought it then. I was a little kid, and he glorified it and made it sound like a beautiful, amazing vacation, except for the pollution. And, if I were to go to school or whatever. So I tried it after I was divorced. And he damaged one of my eyes when I was sleeping out, just like he said he would do when I was a kid, and I didn't even remember that either until it happened. He wanted me to wear an eye patch, and he glorified that and how I should do that. And so now this eye's got terrible vision, and this guy's got great vision, and it's messing up the great vision eye. And it was another actionable, horrendous thing. When I went into my eye doctor, Greg Giles, in La Mesa, and he used his machine, there was no optic nerve in my eye anymore. And I remember when it happened, when I was sleeping in Long Beach in 2012, when that goddamn shit stain was there that night that something bad happened to me. And then it went blind a week later or so. I was getting muscle spasms all over my body from head to toe. And I've been diagnosed with weird stuff with multiple sclerosis symptoms to a pinched nerve. And now I'm saying it was him. It was him and his goddamn weapons and my body's response to them, which strangely pissed him off even more and made him hurt me even more. See, what I was doing was, unbeknownst to me, when he was hurting me with these fucking weapons in my childhood house, before I turned 18 and left, I would lean or I would do different things with my body that made him angry. And then he would hurt me again to try to make me stand up straight in the way he wanted me to. So you got to picture this complete loser, degenerate fucking demon. Hits me with lasers in my sleep all over my body. He makes my ribs end up sticking out because he did it on my back. He stunts my growth. I'm 6'3" from fingertip to fingertip. My height only got to about 5'10". So, and then he uses these other stupid weapons to send these stupid goddamn messages he told me he would send. Whether there's my abdomen, he calls it the side, which is the biblical thorn in your side bullshit. Some religious, demented dumb fuck would say, because of Paul. That's the vehicle that he has. That's his goddamn license. This is religious bullshit. And then my foot hurting. It's supposed to be me shooting myself in the proverbial foot when it's time to bring his ugly ass to justice. And then on and on and on and on and on. Yeah, there's a dozen or two stupid, pitiful goddamn messages. Oh, another thing too, he said that my mom had to get earwax removed professionally from her ear. And he said that he could make somebody like they're deaf by balling up the earwax with his machine and clogging the ear canal. And that's exactly what happened to me about 2 weeks ago. And I haven't been able to hear very well out of this ear. And now I need to get it professionally cleaned. I can't get it out. He even said that it was a genetic thing, and then he rolled his eyes and he said that he would help me or pay for it because it was. But I think in reality, he just wanted me to admit that it happened, that he did it, and he doesn't have any intention in giving me a penny. And I haven't asked him for a penny since he betrayed me and stopped helping me pay for an apartment in Portland, Oregon, before I moved back down here to San Diego about a year ago. A year ago next month is when I moved to San Diego, back to El Cajon, San Diego County. I reported the crime in April of 2025. I flew down here just for that, flew back, and then I moved down here in the beginning of June. So I've been living here for about 11 months now. And, I learned to teach guitar lessons over the internet to my student in Virginia years ago. So I've been teaching him in Hawaii and in Portland and here again in San Diego. And my online business I can take anywhere. So I'm pretty portable and I like it. So this is just a quick intro to what's going on with me and some stuff I'm going to tell to the police. Another thing is like right here, he pinches right here. And that's supposed to mean like knock it off or something like a football coach would do to me. I mean, my mom used to say my father acts like a fifth grader, and I never really understood it, but now I do. Yeah, he acts like a fifth grader. Yep. He's a college dropout, psychopath, off his meds, beer-soaked brain. And since he's a psychopath, I have a BA in psychology from SDSU, and I got it to try to diagnose my sick family. And since he's a psychopath off his meds, I think psychopaths tend to get dementia because psychopaths pretend like they're other people and that the truth isn't the truth and that lies are the truth. And if you do that long enough, and if you do that hard enough, if you do that dramatically enough, you eventually you get dementia because you don't know what in the hell is what. And pretty sure that's what's happening to a lot of people out there. And he's one of them. And it sucks to be him. Yeah, but that's what you get, man. You reap what you sow. You can't smoke Marlboro Reds for over half a century and not have emphysema and cancer and barely be able to breathe. You can't toss back 6 beers every single night for over half a century and expect your body to be okay. If you're hearing this, and I know you are because you're a coward shit stain, you're a weak-willed, weak-minded, sad, pathetic fucking loser. And I'm going to finish by reading a couple of emails, and then we'll be done. And I will broadcast another one before too long. All right, here's 4 from this account. I sent them yesterday. I sent them on a few different accounts. You're a pitiful, worthless, abusive faggot. Now, my mom didn't like his abuse or him fucking some guy's asshole while they were married, and he justified it and made excuses and said he wasn't going to quit. And so he found a guy to work for him in his office in San Diego that he could fuck him up the ass and get fucked up the ass, like in between phone calls. You're a pitiful, coward cunt. You're a fat, ugly nigger. And I said I would never, ever use the word nigger. I'll never, ever use it on a black person because I respect what they've been through. My father, he's a nigger. You're a worthless, shameful zero. You can't get rid of your worms over half a century. Ha, 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 ha. Fuck you for playing bullshit sounds in my head to make me think about worms that are not there, as if you can control me with your annoying, depraved bullshit because you have shit for brains and make me cure them now and tell you how. If you were the last person on earth, I wouldn't want you within 1,000 miles from me. You'll die uglier and more disgusting than you are now. You're a pitiful, shameful, lying sack of dog shit. You're a skillless, talentless, jobless idiot. Well, there's a couple. That's kind of how they go. That's what he deserves. So I'm an honest person. It's too bad that that's my goddamn father, but I accept the truth. I don't accept his behavior, but I accept the truth. So this has been the first podcast in the series, and that series is tentatively called My Father is Still an Abusive Pedophile and Rapist. Because his philosophy is that he paid his dues, he's done his time. He literally said being home every day with me and my mom was like prison and doing time. And that he taught me a lot of things, and that he wouldn't have been a good father or taught me anything. He would just went to the bar and fucked around and been a worthless sack of dog shit if he wouldn't have raped me. But because he raped me, then he felt inclined to be a good parent or a parent, which is a load of shit and pretty sad and pathetic. And my mom was angry about it too. You know, I have a daughter, and I parented her and loved her every second I was around her. That's why you have a kid, not to hurt, not to fuck with, not to fuck. The guy's a fucking insane idiot. And he spread a lot of lies about me to my friends and my family, just out of whole cloth. Made up total bullshit about being a sex deviant in part. And my mom told me about some of it, and it was just sounded like such bullshit, like nobody would even think that it might be true. But that's part of the problem is he's content with just the bare bones, bare minimum number of goddamn idiots that'll believe his bullshit. That's what people like him think. Like, okay, I'm guilty. He knows it. They know it. But maybe a few people out there won't hang me if I plead innocent until I die. Maybe I can just kind of navigate and maneuver through this city and through this life in a way where I don't run into all the people that know I'm a goddamn pedophile, rapist, stalker, attacker, fucking zero. That's how, yeah, it's really sad and sick, but I've learned the mind of a psychopath. And I'm a self-actualizer. My needs have all been met for a very long time, and I can meet other people's needs, and I can think for myself, and I'm not seeking any approval from anybody, and I'm not seeking my mental, physical, whatever emotional needs to be met. So I'm glad, because I see a lot of very incomplete people out there seeking nonsense to make them complete, and it's not working. And I don't care if you like this. I don't care if you listen, follow, don't follow, love it, hate it, whatever. Feel legitimate. That's what my exhortation to you is. Feel honest, be consistent. And, leaving Christianity is consistent. That's not being inconsistent. When you get saved at 7 years old and you spend 3 decades as a Christian and get a PhD in Bible, lead Bible study groups, write a rebuttal to an atheist Bible skeptic commentary, and then say, no, it doesn't work. Jesus isn't God. My father said if I took that path, that I would be very, very highly respected by everybody that I was formerly a religious person with. And sadly, it couldn't be further from the truth. All those people just ignore me now. All of them still have their head up their ass. None of them want to come clean. None of them want to evolve or grow or even talk to me about my deconversion. All of them are hiding, being hidden away, worried. Maybe they're just game-playing idiots. Maybe they're just naive fools. Maybe they just like Christianity because it's a safe place for them, whatever. Maybe it's a social outlet. I don't know. But the principles in the Bible don't work. God has no pronouns. God made pronouns. God didn't pop out a little Jew boy either. There's the uncreated creator God, and then everybody else is just a human. And if you don't think that or believe that, then you're an idiot. And that's why I wouldn't mind moving to Iran or to China or Korea or Japan or some other fucking place, because everybody here wants to force their goddamn delusion on themselves, on their family, and then on everybody else. And it's a load of shit. The only value I ever got out of Christianity was, of course, the friends, but also the praying for intangible things, which I think I could have done, anybody could have done, with any book, anytime. Dear God, give me peace. Dear God, give me wisdom. Dear God, give me patience. Praying for the fruits of the Spirit over and over and over and over, day in, day out for years. I think I was able to change my character a bit to align with a more godly character according to the Bible. And so that might be a positive. But what it also is a stepping stone. It's a path. It's a stop. It's not the end. It's a starting point. And I pity people that don't see it that way, but that's how I was trained to think and see it, because it's not true. It's not beneficial. It didn't save my marriage. It couldn't save my marriage. Jesus isn't God. Jesus did not rise from the dead. You don't have to believe that. You're not forgiven. Just clue in, touch grass, and I'll see you next time.